Introduction. The Mirror and the Stranger. Imagine waking up in a body that isn't yours. The room is freezing, the air smells of gunpowder, and in the mirror, there's a hole in your forehead where a bullet once lived. This is the exact moment Zhou Minggui died. And the legend of Klein Moretti was born. But in the twisted world of Lord of the Mysteries, survival isn't about strength. It's about deception. To stay alive, Klein must do something more terrifying than fighting eldritch gods. He must act. He must wear a mask, every second, every day, until the mask and the man become one. But here is the unsettling truth. Right now, as you watch this video, you are doing the exact same thing. You have a mask for your boss, a mask for your friends, and a digital mask for the world to see. Today, we are going beyond the gray fog. We're using the analytical psychology of Carl Jung to deconstruct why Klein Moretti is the most relatable god in fantasy history, and what his masks reveal about the psychological price of your identity. Welcome to the journey. Let's unmask the fool. Part 1. The Protective Mask. Fear at Tingen. At the beginning, there was no great Mr. Fool. There was only a terrified soul named Zhou Minggui, trapped in the body of a man named Klein, in a house filled with strangers who called him brother. Every meal with Benson and Melissa was a minefield. One wrong word, one forgotten habit, and the illusion would shatter. He wasn't acting for power, he was acting for a home. This is what Carl Jung called the persona. Derived from the Latin word for mask, the persona is the version of ourselves we present to the world to be accepted. For Klein, his first persona was the good brother. It was a psychological shield, but here's the paradox. The more successful the performance, the more isolated the performer becomes. Have you ever felt that imposter syndrome at a family gathering or a new job where you smile and nod, terrified that if people saw the real you, they'd look away? Klein's journey at Tingen teaches us that our first masks are often built out of fear. We wear them just to belong. Part 2. Backlund Smog, when the mask becomes flesh. Welcome to Backlund, the city of hope and the land of despair. Here, Klein is no longer just hiding, he is evolving. He adopts the identity of Sherlock Moriarty, the perfect gentleman. But in this world, acting is a double-edged sword. To digest his potion, Klein doesn't just pretend to be Sherlock, he has to believe he is Sherlock. The performance becomes the reality. This is identification with the persona. Jung warned that the greatest danger is when we forget where the mask ends and our true self begins. Does this sound familiar? In our modern performance society, we are our LinkedIn profiles. We spend 10 hours a day being the perfect employee until we feel like a hollow echo of a person. Like Klein, we are digesting a potion that promises success but costs us our authenticity. Sherlock was a masterpiece of acting, but the smog of Backlund hides more than secrets. It hides the slow erosion of the soul. Part 3. Gehrman Sparrow, Facing the Shadow. To hunt monsters, you must become one. On the Berserk Sea, Klein birthed his most terrifying persona, Gehrman Sparrow, a man who doesn't smile and doesn't show mercy. Gehrman isn't just an act, he is a psychological release of Klein's shadow. Carl Jung taught that we all have a dark basement in our psyche where we lock away our rage and primal instincts. Most people spend their lives running from their shadow. But Klein? He invited his shadow to take the wheel. He used the acting method to unlock a version of himself that could kill without hesitation. But the mask of a monster eventually starts to feel like skin. This is what Jungians call shadow possession. To survive the corporate jungle or the social battlefield, do you become cold and calculating? Do you find it harder to turn off the hunter inside when you go home? For Klein, the price of being Gehrman Sparrow was solitude. Part 4. The Fool. The Dissolution of Self. At the pinnacle of the gray fog, Klein is now the Fool, a deity sitting on an ancient throne. But he faces the ultimate psychological horror, the death of the I. When you juggle 1,000 identities, who is left to hold the strings? In psychology, this is identity diffusion. The boundaries of the self become so blurred that the God archetype begins to swallow the individual's ego. Look at our digital age. We curate deity-like versions of ourselves on social media until the real, flawed human underneath feels like a ghost. Klein is terrified of losing his anchors, those small, mundane things like a coin or a memory of a sister that remind him he is human. The struggle here isn't a battle of spells. It's a battle for sanity. He must remain the fool without becoming a monster. But to save everyone, he might have to lose the only thing he has left, himself. Part 5. The Sleep of Salvation. Finding the True Self. The journey of the fool does not end with a thunderous victory, but with a quiet, long-awaited slumber. After years of wearing 1,000 masks, Klein Moretti finally chooses to rest. Jung called this final stage individuation. The moment you stop fighting your different parts and start embracing them. Klein didn't win because he was the strongest. He won because he remained the most human. He proved that even when the world demands you to be a god, your greatest power lies in your ability to remember who you were before the masks. So, ask yourself, when the play ends and the lights go out, who is waiting for you behind your mask? Don't be afraid to let go of the roles you play. Your worth isn't in the divinity you achieve, but in the humanity you protect. May you find your anchor, and may you find your peace. Good night, Mr. Fool.